maybe Abby can take us through a little bit of what happened. The bonuses are a secret, so there's no surprises there. I don't think we'd revealed much.
No, some people on the comments were saying referring to maybe what their bonuses would be. But there was just a couple, and it's whatever. It was very vague.
Can you view the comments on the feed?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll tell you. If somebody said bubbles.
Okay.
I don't know what that means, though.
You know what? If you're an internet sleuth and this is your thing, and you want to go and break the bonuses and find out what they are, power to you. Go ahead.
It's meant to be a surprise.
Yeah.
But do you want to get into that a little bit later, or do we want to go into, I just kind of listed out here, what have we talked about? I think our first episode, we were just talking about what is the 24, which is very kind of an elusive, personal definition for many people.
I would say.
Yeah, because different people have different entry points, involvement, years of involvement. And I have really loved that going over it with each of our guests, when did you start doing the 24? How did you start? What were you doing? Where are you now? And the passion people have for it, and the years that people have put in either volunteering or riding or, corralling their team. I've really enjoyed kind of digging into a little bit of personal history for each person. And, it's obviously different how they got to it.
Did anybody ask you that question?
No.
Well,
do you want to ask me?
Can I ask you that question?
How did I get started in the
story?
I moved to Riverwest in 2012. And I recall just even then, my sister worked at County Clare, and that's a local Irish pub, restaurant, whatever, but they had a kitchen team, and that was a really common thing back then, is a lot of kitchen people, cooks, dishwashers, stuff like that, would be really into bike messenger stuff. I mean, that's where some of the 24 history kind of started, was the fad or interest in bike messengers and fixies and that whole scene. So that was sort of going on then. And yeah, so I would go and cheer for these people that I kind of knew, because I was kind of new to the neighborhood, but they were my sister's friends, and they all knew me and sisters. And so I was a spectator for a long time. I also oftentimes had to work on weekends, so it was just sort of something I would blip in and out of. I never knew how any of it, why it occurred, or like who was behind why it occurred. Didn't even know volunteering was really an option. I didn't know. I just sort of was like, cool, this party happens every year, and I sit on my front lawn and watch people. And then I started volunteering in 2018 or 19, just helping my friend Bonnie. We should have Bonnie on the show. That'd be fun.
Hey, Bonnie.
But she kind of wrote me in because I was talking about how much I love the 24, and she's like, you got to volunteer. And then she helped me with getting on with registration. And I think she gave me her punching shift one year too at Checkpoint 2, because she was like, it's really cool. You should do a punching shift. And that was really cool. So yeah, this is actually my first year riding. I've never been on a team. I never really thought it was something I could do. It didn't seem like within grasp.
What changed your mind?
I have a bike.
Nice. It's a good start.
I now have a bike, and I know the route, and my love for the 24 actually comes from just love of like collaborative, community-based art projects. And I came to this neighborhood and was like, oh my God, they're just doing it. It's just like this live action, big performance community art project, and everybody's just finding their own place in there. And whether that is being creative, or whether that is just helping feed people, or whether that's sitting on your front lawn with a beer, there's a lot of ways to get involved, but it was
easy entry.
It was beautiful. There was an audience, there was participants, and I get really into sort of the theory behind collaborative art stuff. That's sort of my school background, is theory and history and visual and critical studies is what I come from. So it was kind of like it was already happening around me, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So I've been studying some stuff like this. Yeah, and then I really went hard and started getting involved with the art stuff. That's really was my main organizing entry point, was organizing art and getting together different art projects. So the year with all the bonuses, the oops all bonuses, as we call it, the 100 bonuses, that was the first year I feel like I really had the reins in a lot of the art related stuff. And I developed this postcard project where every bonus had designed their own. I made them make art. And then I did it again with cards for a couple years. I wanted like trading cards or like this sort of nonsensical playing card deck that just wasn't really functional. And
Oh yeah, I have some of those.
yeah, so that was then I organized all of that. I either made a lot of the art because it's really hard to make people make art, or it's really easy, depends on the person. And yeah, so organizing all, designing all of it, collaborating with all those people and helping them figure out what they were going to make. And then yeah, now doing the passports, and then I just oversee other art related things. What about you?
Oh, well, I think that the Riverwest 24 came into my consciousness in about like 2010, I want to say.
Have you lived in Riverwest?
I moved into the neighborhood in 2013. So I knew about it because I was hanging out
Where were you in 2010?
I was on the east side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been in Milwaukee for 21 years.
Dang.
But moved into this neighborhood in 2013. I knew about the event because at the time I was hanging around with the bike shop boys over at Corey the Bike Fixers. That's where I got my bike. And so I the person I was dating at the time hung around with those guys. And so I hung around with those guys. I met my best friend through that, those meetups. And we used to like just tear around, riding bikes, drinking beers, go down to the lakefront, come back, just good times.
Yeah.
And I love that. I mean, I'm here for the good times. And don't think that I got to join officially until 2014. And there's a lot of years of the lottery, and I think a lot of times, like, I was navigating being in and out of school and, didn't always know about registration, didn't always know when it is, what it is. I have to sleep in the park overnight? I'm not doing that. And I think that I tried to get in a couple of years before I actually made it in. So and I didn't know about volunteering either, and then once I did know about volunteering, I tried to get in for a couple of years, didn't get, like, picked, which I think kind of came along from improved organization databases. So once those came up, I was like, I did send in an email, and then I started volunteering, and then I was then you get to have that VIP spot, so I sort of worked my way in, and then
So you're on a team since 2014?
Not since well,
Off and on.
Off and on, yeah.
Okay.
So I did 2014, 2015, I was, like, in the door for the lottery, and then they called it, like, I was 5 spots away. It's devastated. But I feel like having that disappointment is part of, like, experiencing the event. Like,
you can still ride
no.
around. Nobody's
Absolutely.
stopping you from riding your bike.
Oh, totally. It just
during
felt right. It just felt like the kind of thing where, like, well, I guess now I have to go home. And that was also at a time where, like, I was I did live in the neighborhood then. And then I don't think I was in until, like, 2016, and I think I did 16, 17. I think I was out for a couple years, and then my husband and I bought a house in 21 on start finish. And since then, like, I was like, well, at that time you had to like to buy a house, you had to write a dumb love letter to the owner about why you wanted to buy their house. This is a real thing. And
they said that as part of the house agreement.
Yes, as part of the application to like we would like to spend lots of money. Oh, it was everywhere. It was not just here.
Really?
Yeah, it was everywhere. We had to write
like a thing.
Yeah, I know people out in Portland that had to do the same thing when they bought their house. It's just it was this weirdo thing. And I wrote the letter and was like, look, we love this neighborhood. We want to be here. This street is important to us because it helps. It's the start finish. And the house that we live in, there used to be a guy that lived there who would play the bagpipes at the beginning of the race.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, oh, hey, so this is already kind of part of the lore. We want to take that mantle and run with it. And
so you don't play the bagpipes though?
I can rip the tenor saxophone. So I might try to figure out Careless Whisper one of these years and get that ripping. But he did not, as promised, leave me a pair of bagpipes in some forgotten closet. So I can't do that. But I could probably rip the sax at the beginning of the start finish if anybody cared. So yeah, that was me. And I think at that time there was that call for, we need more people to get involved. And
that was I
answered the call.
22,
21? I think that was early 22. So I've been
the mixer.
Yes, the mixer. I've been helping to organize since 22. And I do communications mostly. I like to write. So any written communications. And now here I am blathering on at the radio station. So
talking.
You're welcome.
Communicating.
Communicating.
Wow.
Yeah. So here we are, number 10. We've got, what have we done so far? We had our Corey. We'll get back to Corey in a minute. We talked about registration with our friends Andy and Amelia. We had a little bit of a look back. And I think that, we did a record there, some good conversations from.
That was when we looked at the interview with Jeremy. Just talking a little bit about history and philosophy, which is, I just love it. I find it all very fascinating. Also because you could talk to anybody and they have their own personal philosophy about the 24.
Truly.
And are very passionate about it.
Yes.
It's all sort of similar, but it is your own way of, well, yeah, we're not quite culty, but that sounded a little culty for a second.
I think there is a fervor about like the neighborhood love here that is like, I think people on the outside might be like, well, you guys are kind of weirdo, but we're weirdos together.
Well, it's funny too, is, I don't work in or nearby Riverwest, and I'll be like, I just came from Racine, and they'll be like, oh, where do you live? I'm like, oh, Milwaukee. And that's all I can really, and sometimes they'll be like, where? And I say Riverwest, and they're like, what?
No.
I say the east side. Because it technically is the east side still, but it's a subsect of the east side.
We're on the west side of the river though. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we got to look at Jeremy kind of go on about his old thing, which he kind of goes off on a couple of tangents too. I was remembering he starts talking about his own issues with how he was planning on doing the speaking and then he didn't do the speaking. And he sort of dove into that. And I don't think anybody who was listening really knew that he had planned on doing it because somebody else did.
There is a lot of lore out there if you're willing to investigate. I think that there's some early interviews. I forget what the publication was. The talk that he's interviewed for. The Bike magazine is. Maybe it was in Milwaukee Magazine, but I don't think that was it.
Yeah.
I'll dig that up. And then
he's not the founder. That's his big thing. That's what I believe as well. There are multiple people who kind of brought this all together. He's just the one who talks. He'll say that all the time. It was a group of people who kind of changed, 4 or 5 people. Paul and Chris.
The space the show I was looking at was like, it was Danger Dan's Talk Shop. So that looks like it was on. Oh, I don't have a date here. Trying to read the script. Pretty far away, but maybe look up Danger Dan's Talk Shop and you can hear a very early. Oh, from July of 2015. There's an interview out there.
So that's some years in.
Yeah, there's some YouTubes too. So
because it took so many years before it was more than just 50 people.
Yes.
And
I remember the haircut year. We've talked about that, and that was like outside of my. I was kind of around the time it came into my consciousness because I worked at an art store, and I was like, "What is up with these people who've been coming in today with these bizarro haircuts?" Yeah, and it kind of came forward that was a bonus checkpoint during the Riverwest 24 in like 2010, 2009, the aughts. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when that goes back to, but it did start in, I think, one of the earlier years. So yeah. What else let's see what else we went over here.
We talked with Mel and Joe about getting your team together.
Oh,
So are you on a team this year or doing it solo?
I am.
You're on a team.
Yes, I'm on
This is your
Riders.
first time?
Yes.
And you're on a
Well,
team?
I organized that team starting 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Is I really wanted to start a team that was of like Native American riders. And then coincidentally, Paul Smith did a very similar thing. I think he started, well, he's always ridden, but he made a point of putting together a Native American team like I was. And we were sort of doing it at the same time, I think, not knowing we were both, that was our goals. His is land back, and I don't, witches.
Right.
I don't think
FCC appropriate.
Yes. And then ours is not as punny. I mean, it's brilliant, of course. So we're Res Riders, but it's a collection of, as you know, we all exist now as intertribal, as we can say, intertribal team, meaning we're a lot of different backgrounds, combinations of tribes and different tribes. I'd love to get our flags all together, but that sounds expensive.
But pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So I organized a team, but I wasn't on it because I was like, I don't have time for that, or I really suck at bike riding. So I was just not. And then this year I'm like, I'm going to do it. I've never actually, I've ridden around with people when they get the punches and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've just kind of been tagging along.
Oh, it's so special. Like I always put together a team that I'm kind of like, I like to foster this experience for other people.
That's right.
And
you host a team at your house.
I do. I host a team. This year I'm hosting like 3 teams. Maybe
they all camp in your yard.
Some will. I've been having a battle with trying to get anything to grow in my yard. It's like a whole thing, but it was like, no, I don't know if I want people to camp on my baby grass. Well, that would be if there was baby grass and not just mud. So maybe it's cool this year. We'll see. But our team is going to be...
I've tried so hard for the grass.
They don't even care about the grass. I want the vegetable planter boxes, but anything would be better than what's happening back there right now. mud pods. So our team, the team that I'm on I guess officially, is the Pierce Street Porch Sitters.
Ooh.
And then I think that we will also be hosting another team, maybe an individual rider who hops in and out. But since I'm got the proximity, I like to be a good ambassador and bring people who haven't tried it before. I have a new rider on my team who's coming in from Madison, who moved back from California. Recently.
And your husband Nick, he was bringing in some people from Oklahoma. Is that him?
Yeah.
I was trying to remember that. Who told me that?
It might have been me, but like not to be too pluggy about it. But he's got a trivia show at Amorphic on Monday nights at 7 p.m. It's Wisconsin's Hardest Trivia, and his partner, who he started this with 15 years ago, is coming up from where he moved to in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and bringing some of his trivia team. So to be Tulsa, I don't know if they're going to be Tulsa's Hardest Trivia or not.
And they only know of this by word. They have not.
They're not from here.
People from Tulsa are pretty cool though.
Yeah, I'm excited to bring them. I love hosting this out. I love it, being a foster to this experience. And a lot of people ask questions.
Bring people in to be like, hey, look at this.
You want to try this out? This is why I like living here. This is like a joy for me through and through. So I'm excited for that. Other things we've checked in on.
Yeah, I was just checking.
Let's just do the mental route real quick.
Oh yeah, so start finish is Pierce Center. What?
Start finish is at Pearson Center. I think we have like 5 minutes, less than.
Oh, okay.
And then we're going up to Checkpoint 1, which is moved to
the Beerline Plaza.
Moved to Beerline Plaza,
which is just north of. There's that dollar store right there, and then Riverworks. There's like a laundromat, that little shopping thing. Then there's a plaza just north of that, and that's where Checkpoint 1 will be. And then you'll scoot on over to the east and go to Checkpoint 2,
which is where it's always been, I believe.
Same place, same party. Great, probably just as great as ever, if not better. Yeah.
And then Checkpoint 3 will still be at Swing Park, sans the swings and sans the dance party. The dance party is moving up to Checkpoint 1, again at the Fearline Plaza. And Checkpoint 3 will be down at the swings. We'll give you some updates on the route as they've come through. I'm not sure that we've started prax laps yet. There's always like unofficial, you could start prax laps, but
you
keep
know
an
what
eye out.
About Checkpoint 3 really quick is we are going to be doing a pretty cool live broadcast. We'll be taking our show on the road. We'll be having the late show. So we need people to take up that space and be around in the Checkpoint 3.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there in the ethers. It needs to happen.
Yeah, that's great. And if you're somebody who has a Riverwest 24 story to tell, we want to hear from you. And if you want to tell that story between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m.,
reach out to me at broadcast at riverwest24.com.
Yeah. Sweet. What else did we talk about here?
Are we wrapping up our time here?
We did talk about block parties. Let me see if there's any other PSAs we got to bump. We've got, if you're one of the people out there that's planning a group ride, I want to hear from you, me specifically. You should email info@riverwest24.com and I will be trying to get the message out for you. So we're looking for people who are doing like LGBTQ rides or who want to do formal rides or want to do,
and maybe just in the subject line
ride, tell me what kind of
theme
group
lap or what is it? Group laps.
Group laps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just make sure it goes to the right place. But
we usually have a volunteer wrap. There's usually a volunteer lap.
There's a lot. There's family.
Lap,
there's the formal
lap.
One.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a underwear one. I feel like that was a thing.
I think that is a thing, that underwear or less. I don't know.
I think it's because I feel like it turned. Well, anyway, I could keep going.
Yeah, and we shall. A weird hour with River West. You can check out our bonus drawing on our website. Or just meet us.
Is that on the riverwest24.com/blog/blog?
That's actually on the head page still. I'll move it over to the blog/blog at some point. But that's where you can find it now.
Sweet.
And I think, looking over at our production manager, that we're at time for the day. So we're going to wrap up and we'll be seeing you next week or listening to you. You'll be hearing from us.
We'll contact you.